With the War Thunder new event cycle in full swing, with 4 vehicles currently on the War Thunder market as of right now, and the Yak 3 being the current event vehicle that you can grind out, I think it's time to talk about how these events are actually going and what my general thoughts are about them. So overall, the grind for the event really isn't that tough. You just have to do 35 to 45,000 score, and easily I can get that done within like 3 to 4 hours of just casually playing War Thunder. I can do it way quicker if I wanted to just play meta event vehicles, but at the same time, it really is not that much of a huge jump whenever it comes to actually grinding them out. I understand for some people though, it is a bit of a time sink. I don't deny that at all. It is very much a thing that you have to put actually your time into, which for some people is the most valuable thing, and it will probably be the actual topic of this video, which is kind of important to actually note. But overall, the grind's not that hard. I've been able to do it pretty reliably every time that I went for them. For one though, I've not went for the coupon because I don't really see a use in going for the coupon if I'm just going to keep the event vehicle in general. So that's one thing that I just haven't done, and if you're going for the coupon at least, I completely understand if you think the grind is a lot for that, especially since it's not really selling for a lot on the War Thunder market. So looking at the lineup so far, we've started out the year with the Object 292, which is a pretty decent reward. It was for a major nation that a lot of players play, and it also was included into a very good lineup before the BR increase of 10.0, so it was also a pretty unique playstyle for the vehicle, and it was just something that I think a lot of people wanted to see for the first event vehicle. Now for the second one, which is the Jaguar IS for India, which went to the Great Britain tech tree, it honestly was not the best of things because it was at a battle rating of 11.0, and the reason because of that is because it had magic 2s, and its whole purpose of it pretty much existing would have been to be a cast plane for ground, but it sadly just didn't have a lineup to actually go into. The lineups that you really want to see for ground are 10.3 and also 11.3 for Britain, and this thing was 11.0. And the Tornado, which just has more bombs than a Jaguar and also can get at a higher altitude, because as we know, whenever it comes to guided bombs, you just want to get as high as you can on the battlefield. So it really just didn't serve a purpose, and as we can see, not many people wanted it according to the War Thunder market. Next, we had our first naval reward, which I know for a lot of people it is just kind of zoned out with this one, which is the SMS Baden. So it was a naval battleship that I don't think many people even heard of before it came to War Thunder. So definitely was something that a lot of people probably did not even try to go after, and I totally understand. So after the Baden, we went to China with the PLZ 83130. It had a very similar cannon to the IS-7, but with paper armor and no lineup. So I really hope that you can see a trend with these event vehicles. One of them have been really good, which was the Object 292, and the other 3 so far have been pretty poor. They've either been something that's really critically wrong about them, like no lineup, or in general, the community is just not interested in them, which I think is a huge problem going forward with these event vehicles. The next thing to talk about these event vehicles is the market prices of them, and before we get to that, I do want to say there's always 2 sides to a coin, and there's always 2 sides to this sort of, problem that we're going to be talking about, which I know some of you are War Thunder investors. You want to see the market extremely doing good because you get to sell your event vehicles for insane prices, and hopefully some whale or somebody who wants these vehicles will buy them, and then you can fund your War Thunder addiction with them. I completely understand that. And then on the other side, you have people who are generally happy that these vehicles are the same price as like a Papa John's large pizza. So it definitely is something that has to be taken a note of. I don't really have either side that I want to support. I think it's really good that you can play War Thunder as a completely free-to-play player, and by using these events, you can get yourself premium time, you can get yourself premiums, you can do a lot of wonderful things with them. And then also, at the same time, it's really cool that, let's just say that you missed out on the War Thunder event with the PLZ 83130. You can currently get this vehicle right now for the low price of $15. As of currently right now, reading this on May 13th. So it definitely is one of those things I think both sides are generally good on. For me at least, I'm a CC. Guess what? I can just request these vehicles, so I don't care which either side wins. Like that's the big thing that you kind of have to realize with this as well. But the one thing that I think both sides can agree on is that the market prices make 0 sense with the amount of time it takes to grind out these event vehicles. As we know, if you're trying to use this as a way to get premium time for in War Thunder, for example, as of right now, let's just say that you wait for the discount, which is around $40 for your premium. You're having to do 3 of these event vehicles to even buy 1 year premium. So it's kind of insane the amount of time that you're having to put into these events to actually get that. If you're in a Western country, for example, you would be better off just working a couple more hours of work, getting like $20 an hour, you get $40, and then there you go, there's your premium for the year, versus what the amount of hours that you would have to grind out to get these event vehicles to then sell them on the War Thunder market. Reminder that this is not just doing a task. You actually have to grind out, like, was it 500,000 score for this yak that is currently on offer, which to me at least is just insane. Like, it's insane anyone would think this is valuable of their time to do. And I completely understand. Maybe you're a college student who's broke, which just has more time than money to actually just spend fit around the place. Maybe that's something that you do, but at the same time, it's broken on both ends. For one, you can't really use this as a valid method anymore to get stuff in War Thunder relatively, cheap, unless it's a 292 event. Like, you need these event vehicles to be unique. You need them to be special. And in some cases, you even need them to be for a major nation. And then another factor that makes the prices of these things either really good or really bad is, do they have lineups? Are they good within the game? And if it checks either one of those two boxes, they usually sell pretty well in the market. From at least the way that I view it, War Thunder should never pay like a job. Like, I don't think anyone should be making minimum wage by just playing War Thunder and then maybe going into like the dark websites and selling their account or something. But what should happen is, whenever you're doing these events, you should be rewarded for them. I mean, even I, which is someone who done the PLZ 83 130 event, and I did it to just do it, to be honest with you, because I can request it once again on my CC. It definitely feels like it's very disheartening that I could have just waited out this event. I could have just waited till it went on the War Thunder market and picked this thing up for 15 Gaijin coin. Or even before this, I've seen it at 13. So I could have even got it cheaper, which is just crazy to think about whenever it comes to this event vehicle. And yes, I might be a little bit mad with this video, because I feel like whenever it comes to War Thunder, the War Thunder marketplace has done more like bad than it has good for the game. Yes, you have a place where you can go get older event vehicles, but guess what happens to those event vehicles once the supply runs out of them? They get insanely expensive for what they are, and then the only other place that you'll ever find them is through loot boxes. Whenever it comes to the game, whenever it comes to Skinner boxes, whenever we get the patch update boxes, those are the only two places you'll ever find them, which is just sad, because guess what? People will gamble for them. Gambling is just, in my opinion, one of the worst practices that a lot of gaming does, but just everyone in War Thunder accepts it because, why not? It's just SL, bro. It's just SL, bro. But there's so many people that will go buy these loot boxes trying to get something out of them. They never do, and then they get pissed off and then blame other people. But I digress with that. Gambling addiction is just one of those things that no one gives a crap about, but it should be something heavily hit on the head right now, but it's not. You also have the problem that the War Thunder market is not on console. So guess what? You're on console and you don't have access to the War Thunder market. Guess what? The only way that you get these event vehicles is if they're somehow just randomly introduced into one of the loot boxes and you buy it and you happen to get it. You can't even go on the War Thunder market and get a PLZ 83 130 for 15 bucks right now. The only two ways you were able to do it is actually do the event, or you could have went and got it through paying GE for it. And as we know right now, it was more expensive to pay GE for this vehicle than it was to just buy it on the War Thunder market. Yeah, so let's calm down a little bit, because I just get heated about this, because it's something that I'm really passionate about. I really do love that people are actually able to play as like a free-to-play War Thunder player and still have access to a lot of things that people who pay for the game do. They get access to premium if they sell their event vehicles. They can also get battle pass seasons and also get that for free, and it's overall a positive thing. I really think it is, but there's so many negatives with this War Thunder market now. The oversaturation of vehicles with it. There's like 180 vehicles on the War Thunder market now, so it's insanely clustered and confusing on which one to get or which one to sell or which one to do what with, and it's just bad. I mean, you have the War Thunder investors who want to use War Thunder market to invest in Gaijin coin and buy stuff when it's low and sell when it's high, and all that sort of wonderful stuff whenever it comes to that. And it's just so annoying. It really is, because it kills an area of the game that I think for a lot of people should be there, but at the same time I feel like it shouldn't be, just because of how much it does get abused. To interject into this video, because I quit recording it on the 13th, it's the 14th now, and the War Thunder market currently has the PLZ 83 130 for the low price of $12.50. So 12 Gaijin coin and 50 cents. Like, it's went down since I actually started making this video. That is just insane, man. Like, I just can't even think of people that actually spent their time to do this event and to get the coupon to be able to sell it. Because if you don't know, if you've not done these events, it's not just buying the task anymore. You actually have to grind out the whatever it is. So like, for example, the Yak, it's 500,000 score. You have to grind out. You cannot buy your way up to it. So these are people who are actually using their time to get these vehicles, and they're getting no reward for doing it. So really, what's next is, what is the question that Gaijin has to answer here? And it's, what do they want out of this? Because whenever they introduced this new event cycle, at least the way that I interpreted it, was that they wanted the event vehicles to sell for more on the market, because as we know from the previous events where you have 3 vehicles, normally you had 2 event vehicles which are pretty mediocre or bad, but then you had one heavy hitter, and that one heavy hitter usually sold for like, I don't know, maybe 80 or 90 Gaijin coin, and then the other 2 was in the 30 to 40 range. But the thing you could do compared to the newer events was that you can actually get the event vehicle for a coupon by just doing tasks, and you're able to sell them. So like, let's just say that you play played for an event, it had 7 tasks, and the 6th task is where you get the actual event vehicle. You could just do one more, and then you would have access to actually selling the vehicle, which means, in theory, there should be a lot more supply of those vehicles on the market. But as we see even now with the new system of where you're forced to actually grind out the score to actually sell it, the supply is still really, really high. So the question really has to be asked about this, and it's something that I think that a lot of people are not going to want to hear, is should Gaijin actually increase the amount of score to get these event vehicles? Yes, I know 45,000 score is a lot just for doing the event. 500,000 score is a lot for just doing the event. But whenever you look at it, the math is not adding up. There's the only one that's even like close to being like legit is Naval, and that's because just no one played it. Or would you rather Gaijin take another approach to this whole situation, and instead of adding vehicles like the Jaguar IS, which is completely useless to the game, or vehicles that no one really even cares about like the PLZ 83130, should they start adding very unique vehicles that should probably be in the tech tree? Like, for example, let's just say Germany, the next ground event should be that Canadian Leopard that's been leaked about how many times now. Or we look at, for America, like let's just say that they do the new event for the aircraft, it's the F-16XL. Like, I feel like that might be where we go instead of them increasing the actual grind, because something needs to change. I really want to hear your guys' opinion on it, because, like, again, I can just request these vehicles, so most of this stuff really doesn't affect me. It's really sad that console players don't get access to the War Thunder market. I don't really think it's a Gaijin problem with it when it comes to that. I think it's basically just to do with Sony and Microsoft not wanting an external market on their platform. So there's nothing really that you can do with that. But it's just really sad, because I really like events in War Thunder. It gives you purpose to play different things. It gives you purpose to play, you know, the game actually. Because for some people, they want to actually have something to actually go for, which these events kind of do. But whenever you look at these events and they're not even really worth doing, like, at all, then what is the point of them? So yeah, hopefully all you guys have a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys in the next War Thunder video.